Hello all, welcome to the video lecture series on computer communication networks. In today's video, we shall be discussing the network types and internets. So let us start with networks, network types. So we have defined a network and also we have discussed the physical structures and the type of networks that we will be considering in this particular uh, section now, which are very commonly used, widely applied type of network types that are in practice in the world today. So there are, in terms of defining a network type, it becomes very difficult because of finding out an exact criteria for distinguishing or for differentiating one network from another is quite difficult because of it spans a wide set of parameters, such as it could be the operating range, or it could be the number of users. So there are multiple operations, there are multiple criterions over which the categorization is done. Typically, the one of the few of the very commonly used criterions are size of the network, that is number of users that are present on the network, and the geographical coverage, the maximum distance the network can cover. There is a limitation in terms of what is the maximum distance that could be spanned by deploying any kind of network. And the classification or network types could be done in terms of ownership, also in terms of whether for personal use the network is being set up, or for organizational use, or dependent on the different types or different places of deployment. The ownership also will act as a criterion to decide a network type. So few of the one of the widely used classification or distinguishing is in terms of local area networks and wide area networks, very oftenly abbreviated as LAN and WAN. Here we define the functionality of each of this network type. Along with that, in the second part we shall be discussing the switching also. So as I've already told, these are the parameters that are considered for the distinguishing of the different types of networks in terms of the network size, geographical coverage, and ownership are the prime criteria that are taken into consideration. Coming to the first network type, that is local area network. Local area network, as the name itself denotes, it is confined for a smaller geographical area. So most of the times it is privately owned. So the local area network is typically a privately owned situation or network type in which it is the geographical coverage of local area network usually spans a single office, or it could be a building, or it is a campus within which the different offices are connected. So depending on the different needs of an organization, LAN could be as simple as just two PCs that are connected, and these two PCs are sharing a printer that is present in somebody's home office. So thus it could be as simple as just two PC and a computer, or it could be a throughout company. That means all the employees inside that particular company are connected through one particular network. And this could also include the multimedia services in terms of the audio and video devices. So each entity or each device inside a LAN will be having an identifier which will give the identity of that particular device inside the organization or inside a local area network that is taken into consideration. And any packet that is sent by the host or a device will be having this particular identifier, which will serve as the source as well as the destination host addresses. So in order to traverse a particular carry a particular data packet from source to destination, it is need to know the identity of both the source as well as the destination. So that is why this particular identifier will serve as the source and destination host addresses. So using this particular addresses, the packet is routed or packet is carried inside a local area network. So in earlier days, all the hosts that are present inside the network were connected using a common cable, so that packet was directly sent to the cable, so that all the other hosts which are connected to that cable were receiving the packet, but in the intended receiver will process the packet, and other hosts which are connected to the cable who have received the packet, if it is not destined to them, they'll just ignore the packet, or they will just drop the packet. So this was in the earlier days when the LAN was set up in the initial days. Since they made use of a common cable, all hosts are connected to the single cable. If anybody wants to send the data was directly sent to the cable. So since everybody is connected to the same cable, everybody will get a copy of data, but only the intended receiver will receive the packet, and the rest of the other host or the devices which are connected will just drop the packet. So, but because of the advances that has taken over period of time, today the most of the LAN will make use of a smart switch which act as a which is capable of recognizing the destination address that is part of the packet. So dependent on that particular dependent on that specific destination address, the connecting switch will guide the packet to the exact destination instead of sending it to the all user. So the packet here will elevate the traffic in the LAN and allows more than one pair to communicate simultaneously. So earlier, when single cable was made use, it was not possible to have simultaneous connection because they made use of a single cable. So I'll just earlier, that is the traffic that is present in the LAN. So thereby it will allow more than one pair to have communication with each other at any given instant of time. So the smart connecting switch in current local area networks is capable of recognizing the destination address, and it will then guide the packet to the only intended destination. So thus the traffic problem that is present in the LAN in the past days when the common cable was made use was overcome. So thereby at any given instant of time, more than one pair were capable of communicating with each other simultaneously. So today the local area networks that are used can be operated in isolation. Isolation means I could divide this complete overall network into multiple local area networks, and they can operate simultaneously independent of each others. So which are very rarely that is being used in day-to-day life. And local area networks today are connected to each other, and one local area network is connected to another local area network. At the same time, one LAN could be connected to a wide area network. So we'll look into what exactly is a wide area network in detail now. So this is how the local area network setup was looking like. So in the initial days, the local area network was built using a common cable. So single cable to which a which is considered as a main cable, to which multiple hosts were connected. Whenever a host had something to send, then he will just send the data or data packet to the cable directly, and all the other systems which are connected to the cable will receive the copy of the information. If and only the exact destination will receive the packet. Apart from that, whomever get the copy of the packet will just discard the packet if they are not the exact destination. So this simple setup of local area network had drawback in terms of at any given instant of time only one pair of communicating parties were capable of communicating. So there was a traffic problem in terms of amount of data that is been carried in the LAN cable. So in today's scenario, this particular common cable LAN is very rarely it is used, or it is not in existence. So it is been replaced by a smart connecting controller switch, which is capable of looking into whichever the packet that is incoming traffic is there. It can recognize the destination address out of the packet that is received. So it will just guide the packet to the exact destination to which the data need to be sent. So thus here at any given instant of time, more than one pair of communicating more than at any given instant of time, more than one pair of devices were capable of communicating. So next we shall look into the wide area networks. As the name itself indicates here, the wide area network is also interconnection of devices which are capable of communication. Once again, it is a network, but there are few differences with respect to its operation and its establishment when it comes to the local area network and wide area network. Initially, when we defined local area network, the local area network was limited in size in terms of its geographical area coverage or geographical coverage. So it was typically as a size of a spanning either a office, or it could be a building, or it could be a campus. But when we speak of wide area networks, it has a wider geographical span which can cover a town, a state, or a country. Sometimes it covers the entire world, dependent on the different set of wide area networks that we will be defining. And as we discussed, LAN will interconnect a host. That means they connect only the devices that are capable of creating the information, and that are capable of processing the information, and they are capable of receiving that particular set of any kind of information that is taken into consideration. So those hosts have just capability of creating and processing the information. But when it comes to wide area network can interconnect the devices such as switches, routers, and modems, which are a connecting devices. So when we use the term connecting devices, these connecting devices are used to give the hosts a capability of operating inside the network. So they don't create a information, rather they'll just process the information in order to facilitate the movement of data packets from source to the destination. So they act as a transport service in terms of to take up what exact path it has to take, or what in terms of filtering and all those stuffs. The processing of the information part will be basically done in switches. So WAN is capable of connecting devices such as switches, routers, and modems. And when it comes to LAN is typically privately owned organization. It is typically owned by a private organizations, But when it comes to WAN, since it spans a larger geographical area, it is created and run by the communication companies here, which provides the services. So local area network could be created by the small private organization for their convenience. It's not always that they'll be offering exact service. The basic intention behind the creation of local area network could be just information sharing or the resource sharing. But when it comes to wide area networks, these are capable of providing some communication related services in terms of access to internet and all those things. So thus wide area network is normally created and run by the communication companies, and the private organization will get a lease of that particular connection from the wide area network company entities. So there are two distinct examples of wide area networks. One is in terms of point-to-point wide area network, and other one is switched wide area network. Let us look into it in detail. So this is how the point-to-point wide area network will look like. So the point-to-point wide area network connects two communicating devices through a transmission media. And the transmission media could be a cable or it could be a air. Free space could be considered as a transmission media here. So as you can clearly see, the box inside whatever the box is, inside the box whatever the connection is there, this connection is considered as a point-to-point WAN. So from one connecting device to another connecting device, either I can have a physical wired connection or a wireless connection. If these two connecting devices are connected here by means of any type of transmission media, then we can say that this is a point-to-point wide area network. Why exactly are we trying to say that it is a wide area network? Because on this connecting device is covering the operation inside one network, and the other connecting device is covering the operation in the other network. Now we are trying to connect two different networks. So for that connection, we are just connecting. We are not having a connection from the host to the connection to another host that is present in the different network. Instead, we have a connecting device. To that connecting device, all the hosts inside this network are connected to this connecting device, and similarly with respect to the another connecting device here, and we are trying to physically connect these two connecting devices. So this particular situation is called as a point-to-point wide area network. The second type or second class of wide area network is in terms of switched wide area network, in which we have at any given instant of time the switched wide area network will be having more than two ends. That means if you consider here, there was only one end that we are connecting. So this end is connected to this end. But if the wide area network can have more than one end, that means one connecting device could be connected to more than one connecting device, then that is called as a switched wide area network. So thus, in the common example cases, a switched wide area network is typically used in terms of a global communication implementation today. So a switched wide area network is a combination of several point-to-point wide area networks. So as you can clearly see, so this two pair if you consider, so this is one point-to-point wide area network, and this is one wide area network, and similarly this composes one wide area network, and similarly this composes one wide area network. So I have four wide area networks that are connected by making use of switches here. So each of this one particular block will constitute a switch, and this is a connecting medium that we are making use of. So now that we have defined point-to-point wide area network and switched wide area network, so we need to have when we discussed the operation of wide area network defined a connection between two different networks. So thus it is important to discuss the concept of internetwork. So internetwork is interconnection of two or more networks. Until now, whatever we discussed was LAN operating separately and WAN operating separately. If a LAN is connected to WAN or WAN is connected to LAN, then these two networks are connected. Then we can say that it will form a internet, which will form a internetwork. So let us assume that a company, an organization that is running. For example, if I take an institution which has two different campuses in two different cities, then and both of them are giving the same educational service in terms of a course, then each of this campus will be having their own local area network, which will allow all the students and all the staff inside that particular campus to communicate with each other. At the same time, to make the communication between the students and staffs of one campus to the different campus, to make it possible, it is required to have a dedicated point-to-point wide area network from a service provider, which will connect these two different offices or these two different local area networks. So typically this dedicated point-to-point wide area networks are provided by telephone companies, which will connect the LAN network of one campus with the LAN network of another campus. So this is how it looked like. So this is one campus I have taken. Inside this particular campus, I have staffs and students who are connected to the smart controller switch. So this will form one LAN. So of the first office, that is first campus. So through router, it is connected to the router, and here the organization will lease a point-to-point wide area network connection, which is provided by service providers, which will connect to the router of the second office. So now the employees and the students and staffs of this particular office can communicate once this point-to-point wide area network is established. So now they can communicate with any employees or staffs and students of this particular campus. Clear? So now two LANs are connected by making use of WAN. So that is why we refer this as LAN and WAN are connected together, and this particular combination is referred as internet or internetwork, which is interconnection of two or more networks. So whenever the host or any entity, any communicating device in one LAN want to send a message to the employee or the host on the another network, then he has to first send the message to the router, and from that router the data is routed to the next router, and by then the packet will reach the destination. So this shows how exactly one can explain the overall structure of heterogeneous network, which consists of the combinations of wide area networks as well as local area networks. So here we have a resident who is connected to a modem, which is a connecting device. From modem to another modem, so we have point-to-point WAN. So this particular dedicated connection is typically provided by the service providers, and this modem is connected to a larger set of switched WAN. So here we have multiple switches that are connected. Each switch will be having a dedicated connection to one network, and through this it is capable of performing the operations inside the different organization, the communication exchange between the two different networks, it could be done. If this particular president want to send the message to the first office here or the second office, the communication could be established. And you can clearly see here, so this is the common bus LAN that we have considered earlier, that is single cable LAN, and this is the smart controller, that is switch enabled LAN, will look like this. Clear? So when we have a dedicated point-to-point connection, then we refer that as point-to-point wide area network. Then we have more than two ends, that means we have more than two networks that have been connected. That situation is called as a switched wide area network. In this way the implementation could be done. So it typically connects two different LANs and four different WANs here. So how many WANs we have here? 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 wide area networks are available, and if you consider LAN, there are two different LAN networks that we are considering here. Next, considering the concept of switching, when we use the term internet typically connects two different networks. So while connecting two different networks, it is required to have it is referred as a switch network, because a switch will connect at least two links together. We have a different set of networks, that clearly means we may be having different set of links. So that is why our internet is said to be a switch network, in which the switch performs the operation of connecting two different links together. So the basic responsibility of switch is to forward the data from one network to the another network. And the two most common types of switch networks are circuit switch network and packet switch network. So we'll look into each one of this one by one. The circuit switched network, as the name itself indicates, the circuit switched means there will be a circuit, that means a connection, meaning a connection that exists between the communicating parties, that is two end system, before the communication has to be begun. So in circuit switched network, a dedicated connection, which is referred as a circuit, is always available between the two end system. So the switch here will make that particular link or the connection active or inactive based on the consequence of operations to be done. And in earlier days, the major application of circuit switch network was in the earlier days, where it was the telephone networks that were built in the earlier days made use of circuit switching, because it was required to have the exact, because whenever we are on the telephone call, it is required to have basic connection or a basic circuit between one who is called and one who is calling and one who has been called. So only then the exact connection happens. So that is why the circuit switching network is widely used in the past for telephone networks. Here, as you can clearly see, we have around 6 telephones, in which 6 telephones or 6 systems that I have considered, and each side will be having is having 3 systems or 3 hosts. And the thick line and the thin line that we are considering here, a thin line represents connecting host to the particular switch, and the thick line indicates a high capacity line which connects two different switches here. So thus the high capacity line is capable of handling 3 voice communications at same time, because it is a multiplexed line. It has the common connection for all the 3. So that is why it is capable of handling the high capacity communication. So they can handle 3 voice communication at any given instant of time simultaneously, and this capacity of the line could be shared between all the pairs of the communication sets that are available. And the switches that are used in the examples just perform the operation of forwarding. Here they don't have the operation of storing here. So if we look into this circuit switched network situation, consider when all the lines are busy. That means all the 3 systems on either sides are busy. Then 3 people on one side are communicating to the 3 people on the other side. So the capacity of the thick line is completely used. Consider the second scenario when only one system is trying to communicate to the another system on the other side. So thus only 1/3 of the capacity of the high capacity line is used. So high capacity line is capable of taking maximum 3 lines of communication, but currently only 1 line is occupied. So only 1/3 of the capacity of the high capacity line has been used here. So that means circuit switch network can operate efficiently only under the situation when it is using the full capacity. So then it is said to be efficient. And taking into consideration the real-time situation, it is inefficient because it operates with a partial capacity when all the lines have been not used. So that is why it is required to make the capacity of the high capacity line 3 times the capacity of the each individual communication line that is being used. So which is not type of the communication failure that we have to consider. So with this drawback, there came a requirement, or there came the invention of the idea of packet switching networks. So that means we have a common high capacity line. So dependent on the availability of the packet, the channel capacity has been modified, or the channel capacity has been utilized. So that category of the category of the networks are referred as the packet switched networks. So the communication between any 2 ends inside a computer network are driven in terms of the blocks of data which are referred as packets. So instead of having a continuous communication, 2 end systems are sending the data whenever they are trying to use or exchange the individual data packets between 2 different computers. So whenever they have the data, only then they'll utilize the channel. If they don't have the data, they'll not be utilizing the channel. So these data blocks that are used to switch, activate and deactivate that sharing of the channel capacity are driven by the blocks of data which are referred as packets. The switches which are used here are capable of performing both storing as well as forwarding of the data packets. Here, since the communication is happening in terms of packets, and the switch is capable of performing both the operations of forwarding as well as storing, each individual packet will act as an independent entity. So it enables switches to store the data and it could be sent later. At the same time, if we have in place of switch, if we have a router, then our router can provide the additional, since we have storage also, it can provide a queue in which the data packets could be stored and it could be forwarded according to a particular rule. So this is how a typical small packets switch network will look like, which consists of 3 computers on one set and 3 computers on the other side. Both are connected by making use of routers, and the connection between a computer and a router is a low capacity line, which can take up only one communication line from the host to the router, and high capacity line will have higher capacity, thus it can accommodate maximum capacity of whichever the number of devices that are connected. So let us assume the capacity of the high capacity line here is just twice the capacity of the data line that is coming into the router. At any given instant of time, if there are only two computers, that is one on the either side, one sender and one receiver, need to communicate with each other, then it is not required to wait for the packets, as the overall this particular line is said to be having the capacity of twice this particular capacity of the low capacity line. So thus, if only two devices are communicating here, so as soon as the packet is received at the router, it will be sent through the high capacity line. If there are more than two devices that are communicating, that means all the three are communicating, this I have three packets here at the router, but the high capacity line can transmit only two packets at any given instant of time. So thus the one packet is said to be in the queue. It has to wait until the high capacity line become available. So the packet switched network, if we compare this with a circuit switch network, has advantages and it is more efficient, but with a trade-off of packet delays, that is transmission delays that are considered. Most of the day-to-day's application, day-to-day's communication world make use of the packet switched network. With this background, we now have to discuss the next concept, very important and very prevalent concept that is part of our lives, which is internet. Internet here is the two or more networks that can communicate with each other, and the term internet here is most notable internet. So if I make use of smaller case internet, I here, so that indicates it is connection of two different networks. So the uppercase I indicates, that is internet, I being uppercase indicates that it consists of thousands and thousands of interconnected smaller networks, smaller internets. So basically the internet comprises of, at the top level, it will be having backbone networks, which are very larger networks, which are typically owned by the communication companies. And at the back end, these backbone networks are connected to some complex switching systems, which are called as the peering points. So this is the top level, and at the second level we have, so at the second level, as I have already told, you have first level, this is a top level wherein we have backbone networks. So these are the very this covers a very large area of large geographical coverage they are having, and these are typically owned by the communication companies. There are multiple communication companies that are providing this particular service, and these backbone networks are connected to other networks, and its operations has been driven by the peering points, so which are called as switching systems, which performs the operation of the complex switching between the multiple backbone networks. And at the second level we have the provider network, wherein this will make use of the services that are provided by the backbone networks for a specific set of fee that is being used. So nowadays you come across auction of spectrum, you consider. So initially the spectrum is owned by somebody who has launched that particular satellite, and from them the individual companies like your Airtel, BSNL and all these things will be purchasing the spectrum, and they will be paying something to the in return to the government in order to purchase that particular spectrum. And these provider networks are further connected to backbones, and sometimes they are connected to other provider networks also. So these provider networks can be basically they are connected to backbones, and they could be considered to the other backbone networks also, and there is a chance that these provider networks could be considered to the other provider networks also. And finally we have the customer network, and this customer networks typically will be at the edge of the internet, who actually use the services that are provided by the overall internet. So they actually pay the fees according to the rates that is being set up by the provider networks for receiving any kind of services. And here the backbone networks and the provider networks sometimes are also called as internet service providers, that is ISPs. And the typically in that the backbone networks will serve as the international ISP, as they cover multiple countries, and the provider network is often considered as a national or regional ISPs, as they only cover either states or the different states and different districts dependent on where exactly they have been implemented. So they will be termed as national or regional ISPs. So in internet today is an inter network which will allow any user who wishes to be part of it can connect to that particular internet network, and he can be part of it. And for the user, he needs to have a physical connection to the ISP through a point-to-point wide area network connection. So first and foremost thing to have to connect to internet is to have connection to the ISP who is providing the service through a point-to-point wide area network. So this internet connection today can be made using telephone networks. So most of the residences or the small businesses that are located in the different parts of the town will be having the telephone service, and the same telephone line could be made use to connect. They are already connected to the telephone network, and this telephone network could also have a connection to the internet. So thus they can provide the optional service of internet connection to the residences as well as the small businesses to have a connection to the internet. So the existing voice line now will also have a connected point-to-point wide area network for data connection. And this service using telephone networks could be provided using either a dial-up service or it could be using DSL service. So in dial-up, just the telephone line will have a modem which will convert the data to voice, and the software on the computer will dial up the internet service provider and will imitate as it is making a telephone connection, but it is very slow, so thus DSL is made use of. So telephone companies have come up have upgraded their telephone lines to carry both voice services as well as the data services. They provide higher speed of internet services. So thus DSL will allow the line to be used simultaneously both for voice as well as for the data communication. But when the dial-up was used, at any given point of time, either voice or data could happen. It cannot carry both the signals of voice as well as the data at any instant of time. And using cable networks, so the cable TV networks have been very widely used in past few decades instead of having an antenna to receive the TV broadcasting. So the cable companies have also been upgraded their cable networks to have connection to the internet. So as it can reach the smallest and smallest possible ways or parts of the town in terms of a residence or a smaller business, can use this particular cable network service to have higher speed connection. And the third one is using wireless networks, which is very popularly being used in day-to-day life in terms of Wi-Fi services that is being provided. Household or a small business can have a combination of both wired and wireless connection to have access to the network. Until the modem, we have a wired connection, from which we have a router which have wireless capability that will provide the Wi-Fi services. So with the growing popularity of wireless wide area network access, the household as well as the small businesses are connected to internet using the Wi-Fi standards. And the last one is direct connection to the internet. So the large organization or the large corporations can have their own ISPs. They can become, they can purchase the leased line and they can act as a local ISP. Thereby they can be connected to the internet. So this is typically done when the organization or corporation is capable of leasing a high-speed point-to-point wide area network from the carrier provider or the provider network to itself through the regional ISPs, that is the customer network. So this typically happens when it comes to large organizations or large companies or large university in which it has multiple campuses. So each of this campus could be considered as an internetwork, and then this internetwork, the combined internetwork of different campuses, could be connected to the internet directly. So these are the different ways in which the access to the internet could be established. So that completes the concepts related to internet. So we have till now covered the data communication, the communication components, and the data representation as well as data flow, the different physical structures. And today we have very briefly and very in detail discussed the network types in terms of LAN and WAN and the overview of internet. Thank you so much. This is Abhilash KJ. For more videos on computer networks as well as on cryptography, please subscribe and follow my YouTube channel at Learn with Abhi. Thank you so much.